On the forthcoming recording of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast, we refer on more than one occasion to several parcels we have received from one of our podcast listeners.
One of our very lovely podcast listeners.
Indeed.
It's possibly one of our favourite podcast listeners.
Well, it's one of your favourites because he keeps sending you cake.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, and in fact, literally as we had finished talking about him, he pinged me on Facebook for another reason. And one of the things he pointed out, because it's not the first time we've mentioned him, is that his surname is Jonathan. His surname is pronounced Yingling. So we're really sorry, Jonathan.
Indeed. So in the forthcoming podcast, we will be referring to John Youngling, and in fact, it's Yingling. So in advance, Jonathan,
apologies.
We're really, really sorry.
We are really sorry.
The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is sponsored by Two Fat Lardies and also by the generous donations of you, the listener. We'd like to thank you all for your most generous support. And we're very pleased to welcome on board a new sponsor, Geek Nation Tours. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast, episode 197. Bad Squiddo Games, with hosts Neil Shuck, Mike Hobbs, Mike Whitaker and Dave Luff, and guest Annie Norman.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. My name's Neil Shuck, and on this evening's show I'm joined by a cacophony of fellow podcast hosts. With apologies to everybody, that was Mr. Luff's idea.
I said cacophony of dice rollers.
Yeah, but cacophony of podcast hosts, kind of fits in because you are making noise. Good evening, the Luffmeister.
Evening, Neil.
How you doing, mate? You alright?
I'm alright, yeah.
Cool. Well, and
windy where you are, is it, Dave?
Is it still windy then?
Yeah.
That's Hurricane Doris.
Oh dear! I tell you what, I'll keep adjusting this mic. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Is that better? Testing. Number 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
It just goes to show just how professional we are on this show.
It is.
It is indeed. Hello, Mr. Whitaker. How are you?
Better than I was. Yes. Starring as Sir not appearing in this interview, I believe, aren't I?
Indeed, because when we recorded this interview, one was not well, wasn't it?
One was out of one's tree on American import cold meds.
Yeah, if you're going to be out your tree on something, at least be out your tree legally.
It's a question of whether you could have, whether one could legally import them. However, anyway, yes, I was not in my right mind.
Fair enough. Yes. And
no change there, then.
I'm about to say, even less so than usual.
And
Remember,
of course...
drugs ain't good.
No, drugs were really good.
Yeah.
Just like Zammo, just say no.
Remember Zammo.
And of course we have the Welsh Wizard. Hello, Mr. Hobbs.
Hello. Hello.
How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Mr. Luff and Mr. Hobbs will be joining me later on our interview. We are chatting to Annie Norman of Bad Squiddo Games and finding out loads of, well, apparently all the secrets from what we are led to believe. Or at least all the secrets about what she's going to be releasing in the next few months. So lots of goodness for you there. However, before we go any further, there's there's at least something I need to address, and this is with you, Mr. Luff.
Oh dear, what have I done wrong now?
No, remember a couple of weeks ago in our previous Command and Colours gaming session, where we had that incident of cavalry charge and breaking the square.
Oh, right. We had had some feedback.
Indeed we have, from listener Paul Wiskin. Hello, Paul. Good to hear from you. Long-time listener, Paul. He writes this. A reenactor's experience of forming a square.
Oh, this
I've
could
done
be
this
fun.
I've done this as well.
Right, he says. Okay. To quote, at Waterloo 2015, we had
Yes. I had a family member there, but carry on.
We had an unnerving experience of being caught in line by cuirassiers coming at speed over the hill crest through thick musket smoke. Our battalion was approximately 400 men. There were about 24 cuirassiers.
Jeepers.
We formed a ragged square, but the light company, being caught before being able to make it to the rear side of the square, they formed a company clump, and therefore most of the rear side of the main square was formed only by officers with their dress swords. Had the rules of engagement and realistic cavalry numbers been, as in 1815, we would have been creamed. I have never before seen a cuirassier with a grin so wide. Suddenly it became very, very real. Conclusion. Wargames rules of half a move to change formation are generally pretty ridiculous. All the best, Paul.
I completely agree with that, because I've been in exactly the same position as Paul.
Yeah, as I think I commented on not last. I think it's now the last episode, but I'm confused.
It is the last episode. Yeah.
So the mere sniff of cavalry should be enough to make you form square, basically. And trying to do it in a hurry is a recipe for winding up very dead.
We did an event with some cavalry, and we did the same thing, formed a square, cavalry came charging towards us. We know it's play acting. We know that, that they're not going to try and kill us. But when there's a dozen horses charging straight at you, and I'm sat basically crouched down with my musket up in the air, facing them with a bayonet on the end, and I was there sitting thinking, I'm going to kill a horse. Because they get really, really close before they turn. I was properly worried.
Shall we say
running away.
Shall we say bleeping oneself?
I was, yeah.
Is it the Napoleon miniseries with Depardieu, which has the French cuirassier charge? It's something with Depardieu in it, and apparently the Russian extras forming the square had serious trouble actually standing against the sheer noise of that many cavalry.
Yeah, it's quite scary. It really is. I can highly recommend doing reenactment if you want to be a wargamer, because you really learn about the fog of war. Because you can't see anything, and all you can do is listen to your sergeant.
And he doesn't know what's going on either.
Well, probably not, but he's telling us what to do.
So there you go, Mr. Luff. Just a piece of extra information for your inquiring mind with regard to cavalry versus infantry. And thank you, Mr. Wiskin, for your email.
Get a load of reenactors together, it's hard to do it.
Especially with those hangovers.
And on that note, I think we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we will be catching up with what we've been up to.
I must get through to Sergeant Watson's position. Jenkins, cover me.
Sir.
Whoa. Sergeant Watson, bring your men in. Withdraw.
It's all right, sir. We're enjoying ourselves.
What?
Yes, sir. It's these here chain of command rules, sir. We're having great fun.
Chain of command?
That's right, sir. It's a challenging but fun blend of command and control. It gives me the freedom I want to fight the way I want to. Never had so much fun, sir. and we've cooked you some sausages. Can't be helped, sir. Me and the lads are staying put. Chain of command, World War II, platoon level rules from two fat lardies. They really put you in control. And they're even better than sausages.
What have we been playing? What have we been buying? We might even have painted something. The Meeples and Miniatures crew reveal all.
Welcome back, and in this segment, we're just going to be catching up with what we've been up to. And for a change, I'll go first. And if nothing else, that's because I have actually got very little to talk about. Didn't manage to get a game in this week. Was on holiday, but just one thing or another just didn't get around to it. Very, very little painting. I've been starting to paint my Solar Helix for Planet Fall, which are lovely because they're Terran, it's 10mm stompy robots, which are just really cool. So started painting some of them, and cool. They are pretty. They don't take some time. Did you find that with yours, Mr. Hobbs?
No, because I haven't painted them yet.
Oh right. Oh yeah, because you painted your Leviathan, but you haven't painted like your Stompy Helix robots for. Mind you, have Aquans got Stompy robots?
Yeah, the Aquans have got the little baby octopusy things. The Directorate have got big stompy robots,
right.
which are currently black.
Yes.
I've undercoated them. I'm waiting for the undercoat to go off.
I know what you mean. Yeah. So I've got a couple base coated, or at least half base coated. I've got a couple undercoated, but that's about as far as I've got. And have I bought anything? I've pre-ordered several bits and pieces, but nothing has arrived yet. So officially, I haven't actually bought anything this week.
But you have pre-ordered something.
Yeah. You'll find out about it when it arrives.
Okay, I'll keep quiet for now since I know already.
Excuse me. Yeah, isn't that breach of customer confidentiality?
Probably. But would you like to keep that as our little secret then?
Yes, for now. Thank you.
Okay.
More of which later. Yes. So ordered something, and I think something's been delivered today, or at least I've had the note through the door to say it's arrived. But since I haven't officially got it in my hands, I haven't bought it yet. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Excellent stuff. So I'll have loads to talk about next week. And that's me.
Me? Why not?
Go on, then.
So, played some Full Thrust. We've just started a narrative campaign at the club, which promises to be great fun. In the the side that I am commanding has just inadvertently perpetrated an act of war. So we've started a nice little border skirmish, which is going to keep us amused for a few months. Should be fun. Other than that, picked up for the club some very nice 28mm buildings, courtesy of Empires at War, who I hadn't come across until I happened to fall over them on eBay. They are 28mm European pre-painted MDF. They look really rather nice. I can't report back to you on building them. They turned up a week last Friday, in fact. Having ordered them on the Wednesday, and the guy who actually owns the company, who was very, very nice in that he missed the post on the day I placed the order, and was very, very apologetic, sent us a very apologetic email, and said, I'll upgrade it to first class post, I'll be in the post the following day. And they were. Which I think is above and beyond the call of duty. They're quite a nice selection of different-looking pre-painted 28mm Western Europe buildings for the club's scenery box. 5 buildings for £95, which is actually pretty reasonable compared to the foreground price. And if you buy 2 boxes, you get 20 quid discount.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually rather nice. I'll provide Neil with a link to his eBay store for future reference, as we're quite happy with them. Said I dropped them in on the club last Monday. Rob took them away and built them over the course of the week, so they're clearly fairly easy to build as well. And he says they look pretty good. So there you go. I've also been listening / reading. As folks may be aware, I'm kind of having a bit of a Italian campaign kick at the moment. So I've been reading Mark Zilka's The Gothic Line, Canada's Month of Hell in World War I to Italy, which, if you read with sort of the I ain't been shot mum rules running through your head, is a very, very interesting tale. It's quite a detailed... he's taken all the company war diaries, all the veteran first-hand accounts, and basically picked it apart at company and platoon level as to how Canadian firsts took the Gothic line. Makes for very interesting listening. I've got it as an audiobook. The book clearly could have done with a little bit of proofreading. I mean, who knew that Canadian infantry companies were armed with 6-inch anti-tank guns? And there was an interesting slip, which I suspect many people didn't notice, in that he was describing, I think it was the Staghound. Listen carefully, because this is quite good. 4.2 centimetres of armour at its thickest, and 63 millimetres at its thinnest. Maybe not.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. But yes. And he's a bit obsessed with every German man-portable anti-tank weapon is a Faust Patrona, not a Panzerfaust. But other than that, he's basically, as I said, he's drawn together all the regimental guides, all the regimental war diaries, and every first-hand account he could get his hands on. And if you want just a flavour of what a ball ache taking places in Italy was, up in the hill, up in the Apennines and along the Adriatic coast, it's a really, really, it's a real eye-opener.
Defender's paradise, I thought.
Absolutely, yeah. The only interesting thing is how often the Germans surrender. But they basically, as far as I can see, the Canadians were working on let's get sheer weight of numbers somewhere. And in other news, I have a parcel.
You have a parcel?
I have a parcel. From the United States. It's from Mr. John Youngling again.
Oh, hang on a second. We've had a parcel from Mr. Youngling this week. I was waiting for Mr. Luff to come on board.
Oh, right. The customs label says toys-vehicles. And this is a real live parcel opening because I haven't actually opened the lid yet.
Oh, I wonder if you've got similar toys to what we had.
Well, let's find out, shall we? So there's two cling film thingy bob wrapped. What's the word? Bubble wrapped. And here we are. Look, live. What did I say? That's a Stuart, isn't it?
I don't know. We can't see. It's gripping radio, mate.
It's gripping radio. Now, there's a little bag with turrets in. Let's have a read and see what the covering letter says. Dear Mike! Hello, Japanese tourism editions. Well, they're Japanese. Ooh. Interesting. Anybody want some Japanese? These are from the guys at Gaming Models again, so they are rather nice, actually. They're little resin sculpts. I'm going to look and see if they're resin from 3D print or resin from resin. They are rather. That's rather nice. The detail on it's super.
I think you might find they're resin from resin.
Yeah, I think they are. Ah, and the other pack has by the looks of it, has the turret in it. Sweet. Thank you ever so much, John.
What scale was that then?
That's 15.
That's 15. Cool.
Yeah. So when you eventually get to when we both eventually succumb to the siren lure of 15mm Pacific War, those are definitely going in the box for then, I think. So yeah, thank you ever so much, John. The 28mm British pillboxes are currently sitting on the printer for you. As soon as I get all finished and cleaned up, they'll go back in the post. Thanks, mate. And that's me.
Well, let's go back because Mr. Youngling has obviously been busy because he sent me a parcel as well, which I will be passing on to Mr. Luff tomorrow because Mr. Luff is the one building the 1944 British force and not myself. But again, from the aforementioned gaming models, A lovely.
Oh, God, I love the sound of tape coming off bubble wrap in the morning.
You do. And we've got got a lovely little selection of vehicles. So John sent us what did we get? We had a Dingo armoured car, a Bren gun carrier, a Lloyd carrier with a 6-pound rat-a-tat gun, a couple of trucks, and the piece de la resistance, an Archer.
Oh, an Archer. Which one is it? Joe Grundy.
I shall look forward to the review that you're going to write.
They will be appearing in a before and after, so I'll be doing a quick review before, and then Mr. Luff is going to be applying paint to resin, and we will do an after as well. So, John, thank you ever so much, and we will be reviewing them in due course. Mr.
Pushing
Luff.
on.
Yes, just looking. I think this is a Carmi amphibious tank, in fact. Very shiny.
And,
apologies if I've got that wrong. I'll do my research later.
What have you been doing, Mr. Luff?
Me, I've been painting. Painting and painting more. Yeah,
Ooh.
so we've been doing all that armour that I've got is very close, nearing completion.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't on this podcast tonight, I would probably have them finished. And ready for varnishing. So, yes, it's your fault that they're not finished by tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm blaming you, because that's what you do. If in doubt, kick the brummie.
That's pretty usual. All right, so you've been painting all the tanks that you indicated last week?
Yeah. As when you guys went off earlier for a comfort break behind the scenes, and Mr. Hobbs and I were left behind, I was saying it's probably actually the first time I've actually picked a paintbrush up for about a year, I think. Is that right, Neil?
It's got to be coming on for. It's got to be coming close for.
The glider was the last thing I did, wasn't it? The aforementioned glider from hell
Yes.
that nearly went out the window.
Yes, it was. Yes, that was the last thing you did. It was the glider and the British Airborne ready for Market Larden last year.
Yeah.
No, not for Market Larden. It was for the. It was for the start of our D-Day campaign. But yeah, that was the last thing you did.
And it wasn't really intentional, to be honest. It just sort of happened with setting the business up and going to college and blah-de-blah-de-blah. It just all sort of disappeared and just sort of happened, if you know what I mean. And I sat down and started painting all this stuff up the other day and, the other week. And it was like, oh, yeah, you really enjoy doing this, and you sort of forgot all about it, didn't you? So, yeah, it sort of happened, but there you go. And then I was thinking, oh, yeah, look at all the other stuff you've got to paint as well. You could be doing this and this and this. So, yeah, who knows? It could be 3 or 4 months of just constant painting until the good weather comes here, and then I might have to go down the pub.
Sounds good to me, mate. Anyway, so is that about you? Because as I say, I mean, unless you were gaming.
That's about
without
me. No. Oh dear. Yeah, I've got another gaming partner. I didn't want to talk to you about it, Neil. But no.
I feel so betrayed.
You feel cheap. Apart from I had another dabble on sorcery, the old Steve Jackson thing that's now online on Steam. I had another bit of a dabble on that. I'm still not through the city yet, but yeah, that's about it really. That was my only gaming fix this week.
Which only leaves Mr. Hobbs. So, Mr. Hobbs, can you answer the question that has been burning on everybody's lips since you were tweeting last weekend? Mr. Hobbs, are you a complete tanker?
Oh, utter and complete is the technical term for what I am.
Right, so what have you been up to?
Well, painting or modelling, nothing. Just haven't been in the mood, so I haven't done anything. But on Sunday, went down to Firestorm with the chaps. So with Jeff and Steve Bond. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. Does Jeff get annoyed that you always say hi, Steve?
No, not at all. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jeff.
He did say one day what I should do is mention everybody apart from Steve, which I couldn't do. So yeah, Jeff and Steve was there. My mate Mark, an old mate Phil, who I haven't seen for years, and Ty, and we had a 6-player game of Command and Colors Epic. We redid Talavera.
Oh, wow.
And it was freaking amazing.
So I'm assuming they've got a scenario for 6-player Talavera.
If you buy the Epic box,
Yeah.
you get 2 scenarios for La Grande Battle, which is the big 8-player game.
Mm-hmm.
You get 12 scenarios for Epic. And in Epic, you can play it 2, 4, 6, or 8 players.
Oh, cool.
And they basically put rules in there on how to handle everything. It was great. It was, I've got to say, it's one of my top 3 ever war games, or games I've ever played.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that is impressive then. Okay, come on.
It was that good. The way it works is you have one commander-in-chief who takes one section on the battlefield, and then you have 2 sub-commanders who take the other 2 sections of the battlefield. You each have some tactics cards. The CNC has the deck of cards, but there's also this thing called the courier rack, which is 5 command cards face up. And at the beginning of the turn, the CNC has to take one of those 5 cards, 1 card from his hand, and he basically, those 2 cards he gives out. Yeah, he either keeps one himself and gives one away, or he gives 2 away to his sub-commanders. And if you're in the position where you haven't got any units to move, you roll a couple of dice, and whenever the flags come up, those are the units that you move.
Oh, right. Okay.
But it's quite clever because if you roll a saber on the dice as part of those 2 dice, you have to take 1 block off from 1 unit in your section.
Oh.
Yeah. A bit of jeopardy. But if you roll 2 sabers, you get a brand new tactics card.
Can you not roll the dice?
You can choose to not roll the dice, yes. But yeah, it was fantastic because the CNC can't say what to do with the card. He can't give you a card and go, say it's move 2 units. He can't say, right, move those 2 infantry forward. He just gives you the card. And then often bangs his head with his fist because you've moved the things that you wanted to move and not the things he wanted you to move. But it was fantastic. It was a really, really good game. So we did that. And then we had a little play test of codename Water Tanker. We used an anti-tank gun and a couple of tanks. And yeah, it's very good. Good fun.
So our ball got christened then, did he?
He did, yeah, and survived. Yeah.
Hang on, this is a newly painted miniature that survived its first battle.
That's because I wasn't using it.
Fair enough.
I had a Panzer IV. But yeah, a good game. Obviously can't say too much about it.
No.
But yeah, it's going to be a special one, I think. It's a good, fun, multiplayer, fun game. That's fun, in a fun way. So that's why I've been playing. I haven't bought that much.
Haven't bought that much. I like it.
I did buy some army lists for Napoleon Grand Battles. They've just got the armies of the coalition army list, which covers the Austrian, Prussians, and Russian Empire from 1808 to 1815. So I picked that up. I do want to try that game out. I do fancy going into Russia in 15mm Napoleonics at some stage.
That way lies madness, I think, doesn't it?
I know. I just fancy doing the Grand Army. You know.
What? Do 2 versions? Do the Grand Army coming in and then the Grand Army coming out?
Yeah. 4 figures is all you need for it coming out. So I got that, and I just ordered a small village pack from Total Battle Miniatures.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't got any sort of real 15mm Napoleonic terrain, and they do the nice sort of villages on a base.
Yeah.
And I thought it might be quite nice. So yeah, I got that. I dusted off my old 15mm Napoleonics, or 18mm as they really are, and took a few photographs of those. So yeah, all is good.
Cool. Great stuff.
And then of course we had the discussion of whether they should have flags or not.
Yes. Your blog posts showing off all your resplendent 1815 infantry, complete with all their flags.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you got me looking, actually. I was trying to... Because I don't know if Neil can remember, because I showed him some of the source information that I found it from. It was years ago, though, wasn't it, Neil?
I've got to say, mate, I've been to bed since then, and just a couple of times.
You and me both. And actually, on that night, I actually did pull all my books out, and I still haven't managed to find it. I mean, I've got the Waterloo Compendium. I mean, it's a bit of a tome. It's huge. And I don't know if it was in there, but apparently not all the British units carried their colours on that day. This is as I can remember it through the whole 100 Years campaign. Some of it was because some regiments had chose not to carry them anymore because standing around the colours was very bad for your health and was just a good aiming point for anyone wanting to fire at a regiment. And quite often it sort of really depleted round the colours and made things quite awkward for commander control and just basically filling the gaps. So some regiments apparently decided to stop doing it because of that. And actually, because the 100 Days campaign was such a quick get into Europe, lads, apparently a lot of regiments didn't take their colours, or were just in the rush, or actually their colours were in France, but they hadn't actually made it to the battlefield because they were actually still on the ship or still in port or things like that.
So colours are sort of the probably equivalent of the World War II. Don't be Taft. Don't wear the flat cap and carry a Webley.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that some of the Dutch and Belgian regiments didn't have colours because they weren't issued with some. I haven't heard about British ones not having. I mean, these are people who used to stand there when people fired a cannon at them, and if you moved, you were called a coward. So
yeah.
There's still that thing about the colours and rallying around there.
Oh yeah, there is definitely. I did remember reading at one point that it was the 52nd that were obviously at Waterloo. They were one of the few units that actually did carry their colours on that day.
Yeah, I done a bit of reading on it, and you do get two different types of accounts. I mean, we know that there was 3 colours captured at Waterloo, and we know that I think there was 1 or 2 captured at Quatre Bras the night before, or a couple of days before. So they definitely had them.
But some of those colours actually never... I mean, I was reading up about that as well. Some of those colours were actually never found. They were claimed that they were captured by the French. And
yeah.
And they sort of well, where are they then? And it was like, well, don't know.
There was 6 that were supposedly captured, but there was only 3 which were verified as being captured.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, Dave, it's a War Games army. I'm having freaking colours on mine because they look great.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you, mate, and I'm exactly the same. It's just one of those. I think it came up from one of these conversations that Neil and I were having one night, where it's the war game world opposed to the real world, and it's how interesting, sort of like we have certain perceptions as war gamers that it's a Napoleonics game. You've got to have flags on the table, and I totally agree. You have, but
And,
the amount of times he wanders around shows. He wanders around Napoleonic shows.
Yeah, but that's just me being pedantic, isn't it? And that's just me being. Me being me.
If you want to know about being pedantic, one of the regiments I've done is the 69th, who lost their colours at Quatre Bras.
Yeah.
And in my regiment, they got their colours, and I'm really tempted to do a second command stand without the colours. So you
can do it between the 2 battles?
Yeah.
Oh my word!
Yeah,
that just opens a kettle of fish then.
Yeah.
Mike, can I just ask one quick question? Yeah. On that command stand, how many buttons are on the figures?
Just the right amount. Do you want me to go and get my jacket and count how many buttons are on the front?
Just the right amount. I love it.
Do you want me to talk to you about the 6 different types of Jews harp lace there are?
I'm sure our listeners would be gripped.
Shall I talk to you about the Messrs. Pierce and what's it called? It's the Pierce document, who were clouthiers to the king, and they produced a book which has all of the lace patterns and colours for all of the British regiments. And they shipped one over to Canada because the one in London got lost. But the one in Canada, they've still got something. I think they've still got the whole document. And in that document, they've got pieces of lace in there and cloths, colours of cloth, and everything's in there. And I've got part of the transcript from that document, which lists every single regiment, British Army, with the facing colour, the pattern of lace, the colour of the lace, because each lace wasn't just white. Some of them had different lines through them. Like the 41st had a black line because they have a regiment in mourning, so that was their black line. And they were in different shapes. I could go on for this for hours and hours.
No, please stop him, Neil. Stop him.
Yeah. And I learned this so I could paint my Slaughterloo figures, all of my orcs.
What? That's really messed up button counting. That is.
No, that figures.
Dum.
No, Mr. Hobbs. Yes. They're orcs, but by God, they're painted properly.
Oh yeah, there's no messing around with my orcs.
And on that note, I think we'll.
Sorry, I've waffled.
I think we should.
I think we'll move on. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be chatting with Annie Norman from Bad Squiddo Games.
This is a message from The Cranky Lawyer. Huzzah! Please plan to join us for 3 great days of the best our hobby has to offer. Beautiful tabletops, challenging scenarios, board games, a wonderful variety of gaming-related shopping, and great company. Huzzah! May 19th to the 21st, 2017, South Portland, Maine. Miniatures games, board games, tournaments, vendors, raffle and great company. Join us for 3 days of fun. If you want to learn more about shoutouts, visit our Patreon page. The link is on the website. We hope that you're enjoying this episode of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you are, would you like to support us? There's a couple of ways of doing so. You can become a patron of the show by supporting us on our Patreon page. There you can give regularly every time we produce a show. Alternatively, you may want to give a one-off donation, and you can do that by using PayPal. For more details on both these options, please click on the Donate tab on our website www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. Have you ever wondered what's going on in wargaming? We do too. So come with us as we go behind the hobby with the Meeples and Miniatures interview. We'd like to welcome back to the Meeples and Miniatures podcast the artist formerly known as the Dice Bag Lady, but now, more often than not, now known as Annie Norman from Bad Squiddo Games. Hello, Annie.
Hi.
How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Cool. Yeah, great. Thank you. Actually, I'm not quite sure whether that you're guesting on our show or we're guesting on yours. Considering Annie's basically been I think she's just carrying on with how she normally does, and basically we received an email today saying, okay, these are the questions you're going to ask me.
I like to be organised. So I don't want to be caught out of anything too controversial, you know.
Well, suffice it to say,
we can do that.
Yes.
Oh no, I've
Yeah.
doomed it now. I'm gonna get it all.
Yeah. If nothing else, Annie, I feel sufficiently herded. So we'll see what we can do.
I've realised that I'm much better at organising people who are older than me and more experienced than me, and I seem to get away with it without anyone killing me. So I thought I'd just carry on.
So it's been almost a year since we last spoke to you. As we've just been reminding ourselves, the last time we spoke, we were talking to you about your Women of the Red Army range, which appears to have taken off really well. Yeah.
Massively, yeah. It took me by surprise. I had so much stress beforehand releasing it. I can't remember if I even went into that with the last time I was on, but it was the closest sort of project that required real historical accuracy. So I was under lots of pressure and all the worries in the world that everyone was going to tell me it was wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I released it, and it's been the biggest thing so far for the business, and it was just massive, way more than I could have imagined. Just brilliant.
Cool. So obviously, there's been a few changes to Bad Squiddo in the last year, hasn't it? Let's start with the fact that, first off, brand new website.
Yes, this is my favourite thing ever. I love my website.
So how did that come about then?
Well, it was my goal one of my goals for 2016 was to finally get a new website, and the year was going on, and I thought, it's not going to happen. And I managed to get it sorted right at the end, so it launched in that sort of Christmas, New Year sort of time. It was absolutely vital, the best money I've spent. The website that I had just grown out of, well, when I set it up, it was selling dice bags, a few packs of dice, some badges, and that was it, and it was perfectly fine for that. But the business just grew so fast, and I was adding more and more products, and it just wasn't built for what I was doing with it, so it was a massive sense of stress. It was really hard to mark things out of stock. So I was also spending a lot of money making sure that as much as I could was in stock and was in a lot of stock as well.
Yeah.
So that people could, because I hate the idea of people ordering and then having to order it in, and the website's full of places that don't carry stock. And I didn't want to look like one of those guys, that don't carry anything, don't do any risk. You order something and then they order it in, and then it takes 2 weeks. So I've always carried a large amount. But if someone ordered one thing out of 10 things or 5 things that wasn't in stock, that was stressful, and I was doing lots of part ships to try and keep people happy.
Yeah.
Because it was just impossible to keep up to date with it all, because it just wasn't built for it. So it was an absolute necessity to switch to something that my old website looked lovely. The new website looks even more lovely, but the back area was the most important bit, the management, behind the scenes. Because I kept saying that the last website was great, but behind it was sort of sellotape and blue tack, keeping it all together. So yeah, the biggest thing about that is that now I've got live stock. So if something is on the website, it will tell you how many there are and if it's in or not, and you can't buy it if I haven't got it.
Oh, cool.
Which is
Streets ahead.
cool.
Streets ahead of any wargaming company, that is.
Oh yeah, it's just made processing orders was taking up all day, every day, and I just felt like I wasn't getting anything done. I was processing the orders, and then it'd be time to go home, and it was just taking so long. Whereas now it's really nice. I'm enjoying it again, because it was just getting like, I think I've got that. It's in a box somewhere. I don't know where it is. Have I got it? No. Now I've got to do an order to get it in. Now it's just because I've organised the stock room as well. So now I just get to go, yep, one of them, that's over there, one of those, print off the nice label with the address on, and it's gone. And it's beautiful. And it takes up maybe a couple of hours a day, and then I can do other stuff. So the business can do more things rather than just existing, which I kind of felt the last half of last year it was doing.
Yeah.
Plus, you've moved as well, haven't you?
Have I?
You moved upstairs.
Oh yeah, I haven't been on here since I moved, have I?
Oh.
No. So yeah, I moved to a massive office rather than half of a cupboard, which it pretty much was, which Hobbs can confirm. Was always a tip. Now I have all separate things. So I have my office, I have my packing area, I have my storeroom, and I also kind of have a new storeroom now as well. So everything is much easier to access, much easier to pack, things like packing blisters. Obviously costs me more, but it's, again, these sort of things are just no-brainers to sort out. Life's easier, I can do more things, therefore the business can grow better.
Well, it's got to be big because it's got like sofas and like plants and everything.
It is ridiculous. I did want to make it the coolest war games office in the world. It's up there. Effing cool miniatures. He's got arcade machines, so I think he's a little bit cooler. But other than that, it's pretty nice. It's all purple. It's got cool plants in there. Lots of cool female posters, fit with the theme. All the walls of one of the sections is full of stock. I don't have to have it in boxes and do my back in lifting boxes, and because I was sharing with Great Escape Games, which I still am, but our stuff before was all sort of entwined. So I'd lift up a box, and then there'd be a box of cowboys or gangsters or something. So I'd put that there. Then there's another box of something that's not mine, and now we've all got our own. We're still renting together because it makes budgeting sense, rather than paying a single thing, each of our companies.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've got our own areas, so it's kind of cool because we've got company, because there's quite a few people working for Great Escape Games now. I've got someone working for me as well, so it's quite a nice little community in our new office as well. But we're very much separate, which is also good, so we're not stepping on each other's toes.
Okay, go back to the website for a second, because obviously you got this brand spanking new website, but people will notice one thing in the fact that you're not carrying anywhere near as much as you used to.
I am not. That has been the scariest thing so far. The scariest move to make.
I mean, especially in a situation where most people are looking to grow the business. Yeah, actually getting to a point of scaling back. What brought about that decision, and how have you found it?
Well, yeah, the last 2 years, the business has grown scarily fast, really, really fast. Which the last half of last year was starting to get into some problems because it's still just me, and it was getting to the point where I thought, well, last year, I should have hired about 2 people to manage all of this because it was just killing me. Because, as I said before, the packing orders all day. It was just so much, and to grow that fast, it's things that you have in place to manage the business at a certain size. As it grows, they're no longer relevant, but it's growing so fast that you can't stop to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of businesses run into trouble, and I've seen it happen to other people. And I was quite determined that it wasn't going to happen to me, that you just grow to a certain point and then combust. It's all over. So I saw the growth as amazing, and it was great that so many people wanted to buy so many things off me, and that the office is growing, everything's getting bigger. But you reach a point where you've got to go big, due to the nature of business. You've got to go big or scale back.
Mm-hmm.
So the big option, as I saw it, because it was things like Saga and Frostgrave I was selling a lot of, that direction sort of led me to being a big web store in the sense of Firestorm, Element Games, Wayland Games even, but obviously not in the same sense as them.
Mm-hmm.
But that sort of online store that you go to buy everything. Because it's so tempting. So you sell, because I was selling the lady figures, and then you think, well, people want this, so I might as well sell the male figures. And now I might as well just stock the whole range of it. But it's a lot of money in stock, and because I insist on having everything in stock, that's a lot of money sitting about.
Mm.
And then it gets to a scary amount of money that's sort of coming in and going out. And that sort of company just isn't what I wanted to be. And it wasn't from the start what I wanted to be. So I'd like to focus on the female miniatures. And I was looking at my releases and thinking, well, I haven't released things for a while. I'm selling other people's things. So I took the very scary decision to go back. But I, at the time, was, that sort of, I feel really sick. I don't know if I've done the right thing. I was about to take on a new person, spend a lot of money on a new website, whilst at the same time getting rid of some of my best sellers.
Yeah.
Which is like, what am I doing? Oh no. But I, a few months into it now, and it was absolutely the best thing, because I just didn't want to go that way. If I would have had to take on so much more admin work. I'd have had to take on more staff. I would have ended up being some sort of big business manager, which I don't want to do. I like running a business; it's great, but I want to have a life, and I was starting to get a bit scared that I was just working. And last year, I barely had any social life, and I felt like that for a few years with being self-employed. But last year, it was quite a peak because I barely did anything other than work. I'm only small. I've just turned 27, and I didn't want to look back and think, well, all I did was just run this shop, because my passion is in the female miniatures, and I love the stuff that I'm selling, and that's why I was selling it, like the Frostgrave. I didn't just sell random stuff, but I wanted to get some life back, get some more enthusiasm back personally as well, because it was killing me, and I was getting to that point of not wanting to go to work, which I never wanted to get to with this, because I really love my job. So yeah, it just turned out brilliantly in the end, and letting go of Frostgrave was the biggest thing that was kind of horrible, but I've just about got used to it. The next Nick Starter that he does, I think, is going to be the biggest test, because I said I wasn't going to do any more of it, and now I'm thinking maybe I'll just do some, for my loyal customers that want to do it via me, because he's got one on at the moment which I'm not involved in, and it's really hard because I did enjoy it, but to try and be more focused and just doing the female minis, doing my own thing, because there's plenty of other people selling all the other stuff. So it's just important to not get carried away. And again, there's loads of companies that do that. They stretch themselves too far. They can't keep up. They end up pretty much getting taxed out of business, and then it's gone. And that wasn't the goal. But Frostgrave Saga and some of the other bits like the Fenris, it's all helped in growing the business and getting the customer base. And I've found now that since I've stopped that, I've got most of those Frostgrave people are still here. They're still buying the female minis. I'm still selling Ristles because it's so different, and I absolutely love that stuff, the Ristles market terrain.
Yeah.
But I've got those people now, and they're now aware of my own figures and the female figures, and it's still going along lovely. So I was terrified that I was going to launch this website and then not get any sales, but the website's doing great, and business is doing great. So it's all okay.
Cool. So do you feel you kind of almost like taking back a bit more of your identity?
Yeah, I think so, because it is compelling to just do more and more, and there's a lot of focus maybe in life and business on that whole bigger, better sort of thing. But not everyone has to do that or wants to do it. But I feel pretty confident. I was happy with the idea that if I wanted to, I could. So if I wanted to go down that route, I sort of proved to myself that I am good at business and I can do all of those things, but I'm choosing not to, which is quite empowering, because you don't have to do it. You can say no and stick to your core values and what it is you want to do.
Well, it means that over this year, you like you say, you've scaled back, but it's giving you the time to get more of your ranges out and get more figures sculpted for yourself, hasn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely want to be focusing on my range. I'm obviously still focusing on the female minis, and I've been looking at more and more people to add to the supplier list, and still want to carry on being the biggest, best place for your female minis. But when it comes to prioritizing that cash flow, I liked it to, as much as possible, to go into more sculpts, growing the Bad Squiddo line, filling in the gaps of figures that aren't there. Because from a business perspective, that's where the money is,
Yeah.
But it's also, that's what I want to do. That's my sort of legacy. That's my thing. Whereas, as much as it's selling really cool stuff, it's still other people's thing that I'm selling, and I want to build my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing with the female minis and talking about stuff disappearing, obviously with the effects of the economy in what's happened since middle of last year, it has been noticeable
What happened then? Did something happen?
Did something happen? What was it? The bottom dropped out of Sterling, I think was the quote. Was the result.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. So obviously that.
Just think back because I can remember the 2 months of you ranting about it.
So a whole I thought it was more than 2 months I ranted.
Well, you may have invited a bit more, but I just walked away after 2 months and left you to it.
Remember that the 2017 Annie is much more calm, zen, positive.
Oh right, okay.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, totally. Do not rant anymore. Really. I'm a happy-go-lucky bunny.
Sorry, I just have to go mute a second and laugh.
But yes, something happened last year which made the pound sort of die, and it did totally screw up quite a few of my US imports, which, you know, I spoke about it, and a few people said, well, you know what to do, just raise the price, that's what you got to do. Like, but these are war games figures, and most of the American things cost a bit more anyway. So it's not like you're getting something for £1 a figure. They're already $10. So then adding on the shipping always adds something on, the VAT always adds something on, and then the currency conversion is kind of one of the few things that you've got to, you know, justify the cost. And then when that died, I just thought there's some of these figures I'm importing, and I've got to sell them for £13 a figure. It's not happening. Because you know, people say, well, just raise the price. But I've got to buy them. I don't buy 5 figures at a time. I buy a lot of figures. So again, that's my cash that is going into things that I believe to be unlikely to sell at that sort of cost. And if people are happy to pay that amount of money, they'll be happy to buy it direct from America.
Yeah.
So it just isn't feasible, which is a real big shame, because there are some absolutely lovely figures. I've just recently started getting back into some of them that I had to stop, just because they're really nice companies that we've been sort of figuring out ways that we can work together so we both benefit.
Yeah.
You know, helping each other out. But just to buy something at a you know, straightforward sort of way, it's really hard now to get some of the American figures. And some of the EU stuff, you know, I had to put quite a lot of money up on the Ristles, and I'm really glad that continued to sell. So there was that point around that time of year where I started panicking. But that sort of thing happens. So I think, again, you've just got to constantly be adapting, and you can't just keep doing the same thing. So that happens. Okay, I got pretty angry at the time, and that's normal, but then you've just got to move on from it, I think, and figure out, right, that's not working, what can I make work? So again, it's, okay, maybe exports are going to work now, so the more I can put into my things and export them, that'll work, rather than looking at importing.
So talking about evolving and moving forward, you did a Kickstarter.
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were ever going to do a Kickstarter.
No. I do believe that Kickstarter might be a thing that I might have ranted about. The more negative 2016 Annie might have had a problem with.
Yeah.
And then well, I still stand by it. I'm not a massive fan of Kickstarter. I was ranting about Kickstarter and that it's soaking up a lot of the money. You know, that there's only so much money in Wargamers' pockets, and I felt that a large amount was going to Kickstarter. And to be honest, I was getting a bit bitter about it. So I released something. Since I started, but you know that I started Bad Squiddo out of debt to try and claw myself out of my blooming wrist injuries, and I've since then just constantly been sort of martyring myself to build the company up. So I think, right, I've really pushed to be able to fund myself. I've worked up. I've released this figure, or this pack of figures, and sometimes it's great. Some things like the Soviets, they instantly sell. But other things, I think there's nothing wrong with the figure. It's a lovely figure. It's relevant to what's going on. You launch it, everyone says it's great, and it almost sort of sinks. And I think, well, why aren't the amount of people that should be buying the thing, why aren't they buying it? And then you look, and they're all ranting and raving positively about Kickstarter. So I think, well, you're happy to give your money to something which doesn't exist yet, and you're not going to get it for a year, but you don't want to buy the thing that you can have tomorrow. And that thing was kind of perplexing and making me quite a bit angry. So I thought, well, if you can't beat them, join them. I'll give it a go, see how it goes. I'll do the safest thing. I spent about a year just stalking other people's Kickstarters, seeing what they do right, what they do wrong. Well, again, there's no point just moaning about it. It's see how it works. Maybe that is just how the business is going, and it doesn't matter whether you agree with it, if that's what you've got to do. So I did do my own Kickstarter. I kind of rushed it out at the end of last year because I suddenly realised it was almost Christmas. Let's release the Kickstarter now. After all my humming and ahhing for ages. But I'd master moulded. I had all the figures sculpted. I'd master moulded them. So all I had to do was put them into production mold. So as far as I was concerned, nothing could go wrong. I still wasn't sure. Obviously lots of people were saying, "Oh, it'll be great," and I was getting that paranoia of thinking, well, maybe I'm just in a bit of a bubble of, people congratulating me, but the wider picture is they're not going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
When I launched it, I had one of the Great Escape Games staff was with me, and Phil Hines, one of my sculptors, and I was absolutely terrified. So I made them stay with me while I clicked the button, and then it was like, oh, sold one. Hey, I've got a backer. Oh, I got 2 backers. And then it felt like about 2 minutes later, I was like, oh, I've hit the target that I didn't think I was going to hit. Oh, I'm on £2,000. Oh, I'm on £3,000. And it just sort of went crazy. I ended up at £10,000 in the end with a 1,000 target. And I worked out that it's over 3,000 figures that I'd sold from that, which is crazy. I'd never have sold that. It sort of proved my point that if I had just flat released those figures, there's no way I would have sold that many. So it did convince me that you do kind of need to do that, regardless of your thoughts on the Kickstarter. It is a very good selling platform.
So you're going to do it again?
Yeah. It's so as I was doing it, because I one of the things I learned was, like, don't get carried away, don't decide people can have all these freebies. I did a lot of sums beforehand to make sure that I was still getting good out of it and making sure that people were still getting good out of it. And yeah, it's gone well. So I thought, yeah, this is why people do it. I will do more as soon as it finished. Shane Hoyle did all the sculpting for the ladies, the Ghosts of Gaia, was the Kickstarter. As soon as he saw the figure, saw how well it done, said, hey, let's do some more. And I didn't originally have any plans, but I thought, oh, why the hell not? So he's almost finished sculpting the next set of 10 for the next Kickstarter. The gun pigs, so they're guinea pigs with guns on them. One of them's got a massive jet engine on its back. They ended up sort of stealing the show a little bit.
Okay. Sorry. Let's step back a minute. Sorry, gun pigs, guinea pigs. I'm sorry. Okay, come on, explain.
Yeah. So, since the last interview that we had, I decided that screw it. I really like guinea pigs. I'm going to release a pack of guinea pigs. And as usual, everyone said, guinea pigs, no one's going to buy that. And they went crazy. So when the Kickstarter was on, I was trying to think of extra things that I could add in. I thought, I don't want to get any more sculpts commissioned that can't be done or might have problems. I want to play it as safe as possible. So I thought, I'm going to put big guns onto the guinea pigs. So Darren Edwards, he's a local sculptor to me. He's very fast and he's very good at that sort of thing. So called him up, and do you want to chuck a load of guns onto some pigs? And actually, he was over, I think, in a few hours with his sketchbook. So so this one's gonna just big silly guns. I'll let you use your imagination. And came back, one of them with a jet engine that's about 5 times bigger than a guinea pig. Again, I seem to still be at this point where I'm not expecting to sell anything. So I thought, okay, I think it's ace. We'll see how it goes. And I ended up having to introduce a whole pledge level just for the gun pigs. And I think I sold something like 350 packs of the gun pigs. It's just ridiculous.
I'm surprised Neil didn't buy any.
No, what's new?
Didn't you buy any, Neil? It's shiny. Shiny and new.
People would just say, "Oh, I've no idea what to do with these," but yeah, sure. So people that had seen the Kickstarter had gone, "Oh, you really want to support you, Annie? I've just got no use for, sci-fi ladies. It's not a game that I'm playing." And then suddenly they had a use for gun guinea pigs. So that ended up being its own sort of side thing in there, which was hilarious but very fun. Gun pigs.
Yes, gun pigs. And so of course afterwards you've had to branch out into other mammals.
To give people what they want. Well, after the gun pigs, I'd commissioned. I wanted some cats because I was reading about Viking cats that travelled with them on the ships, and I thought, well, that's adorable. My shield maidens need some kitties to come raiding with them. Of course they do. So I'd already commissioned the cats and the bunnies, but Joe Brumby, who sculpts them, he has a day job. He makes all sorts of crazy stuff, larger scales. He does like, what do you call them, planning scale models for towns and building sort of areas. So he's very busy with that. So he's just finished them now. They've just gone into a mould. So naturally, the next Kickstarter, guaranteed, it's going to be Ghosts of Gaia 2. There's going to be more female minis that more of the same sort of thing, but they're quite a bit different. They're absolutely outstanding, what I've seen so far. He's just got a couple bits to finish off. There's a top secret figure in there too, which isn't going to be unveiled till the last minute. And to go with them, there's obviously going to be gunny rabbits.
Gunny rabbits.
Yeah. Is that to follow the new rules set that you're going to bring out, Animal Farm?
Well, that's the thing. I'm thinking now. Well, you've got to do something with this. They're popular.
Good.
People like them. I've got the Cappy cannon as well, the capybara cannon.
Yes.
I've got to. So I'm hoping to team up with some rules writing extraordinaire, and even if it's just a PDF or something, a game gunny pigs versus gunny rabbits. It's got to happen, really, isn't it? Why not?
It's almost it is almost inevitable, isn't it?
You sold it to him.
Yeah.
So since I've been in the industry and since I've been at shows, there's been a certain demographic of people that will walk past my stand and sigh or tut. Since I've been doing dice bags and now the female minis, there's still that sort of small amount of people that just go, what is this? What the hell is this? And I seem to have dedicated my life to just irritating them further.
Well done, that woman.
If I can annoy those people, then I'm doing something right.
All right. So your entire business plan is governed around annoying a small percentage of the male gaming population. Is that what we're getting at here?
I think that's a good goal for life, really. It's work.
Do you want to lend some of my flintlock figures? Because that really upsets people.
That's true.
You don't have to tell them. Just have them on the side.
Just have them.
Yeah.
I do like it when they sort of walk past me. Guinea pigs. That's ridiculous. So I do remember when I had dice bags, and they'd say exactly the same thing. Oh, there was a guy at one show who just walked past, and it was very quiet. Looked at my stand, and just went, "Whatever next." It's not
Come
really
back
that...
next year and find out.
How dare you sort of sell a thing to keep the dice in? That's real wild, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe I took that as a life goal. Well, what next?
My mum made me a dice bag just before you brought them out, Annie.
Oh, I see. That's why you never got them.
She knitted me a dice bag. I don't know. I said, I got these dice. I need to do something with them. She goes, "Oh, don't buy one. I'll knit you one." So okay. So she knit me one. It was just a plain red bag. And then you brought your stuff out. And then I was like showing my mum, going, "Hey, look at this website. Look at the stuff. Look at this." And my mum's like, going, "Wow, loads of work in that."
My
mum was very impressed.
Oh, that's always good. I have some. I've got quite a few. Startling news and releases in this episode. One of them,
go on,
is that last night I made a Squiddo dice bag. Dun dun dun.
Really?
So I have not made a dice bag for about hang on.
18 months,
2 years? More, yeah, about 18 months, 2 years sort of thing.
Oh,
Very
wow.
odd thing. And every time I've sort of looked at it, my hands have just freaked out. So last night I was in quite an excited mood and thought I'm going to make a Squiddo dice bag. And I got 4 rows in and my hands started really aching. Me being me. Thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a Squiddo dice bag.
Rather than
So
stop and listen to your body, you decided.
I spoke to the physio about it, and she said it was okay.
Okay.
Because I was worried. She said, "Oh, if you can bear with the pain, then it's not going to make it that much worse as long as you do all the stretches and things."
So they're knitted by hand.
They are crocheted by hand.
They're crocheted. Oh right, yeah. I didn't know. Because my mum's just took up crocheting, and because she had problems with her hands with the knitting, and she took up crocheting. Probably similar like you're saying, pain in her hands, and crochet. She doesn't get that.
Yeah, it's a different action. But I have no interest in returning to the dice bag world. So, as I said before, that pain, and when it was my main income, well, it was my only income for a large point, and my hands weren't working, that forcing myself to do it just sort of killed any joy for the dice bag world. But if I can do the odd Squiddo bag now and again, that's very exciting, because I really like making the Squiddo bags.
Yeah.
Should probably put a link to what a Squiddo bag actually looks like, but it is the Squiddo of Bad Squiddo. And I don't want to do any more custom bags and that sort of pressure and stress I don't want to be involved with. I've got lots of people now that I point people at when they come asking about dice bags. I've got companies that I recommend them onto, and I'm happy for them to take all the dice bag business and wrist injury themselves. Yes, there you go, be careful. But yeah, if I can get some more Squiddo bags out there, just as a now and again thing, that would be really nice.
Okay,
I really enjoy making them.
So basically, it's a question of here they are, limited edition.
Yeah.
Incredibly rare.
Yep. Yeah, no pre-ordering, because I always had this big list of things to make, and that's what was sort of building on the pressure and making me do so much. But then go, hey guys, I've made a Squiddo bag. It's blue. Do you want it? There's one. That's how I'm going to do it. So maybe, it might get a bit better, and I can have a little Squiddo dice bag section. Why not?
You do have a habit of pointing people at people that you work with, don't you? Whenever somebody comes to you, like you say about if somebody comes to you for a dice bag, you point them towards people that you trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you also do that with your sculptors as well. You're probably one of the only manufacturers who actually advertises who your sculptors are.
Yeah, this is a thing I've been pondering lately. So there's a new thing I've put on my website called Sculptor Search. And I've managed to get mug shots of some of my sculptors. Some of them aren't my sculptors. I think every single one of them are sculptors that I intend to use at some point. But they sculpt for a lot of things that I stock. So I want it to be able that people can search. They go, oh, I like this sculpt. I wonder if that sculptor has sculpted more for different companies, because a lot of them are freelance and they sort of just sculpt for everyone and anyone. So yeah, they've all got, some of them have now got their own special pages with a little bio about them, and you can look at the other sculpts that are on the website. I will be increasing this because I put a bit of a shout out yesterday, so some more sculptors have joined in. God, here's my mugshot, put me on there. So I'm going to put those on there. And also, where I can, I've credited the sculptor. So if they're not on there, you can still search them on the website and they'll come up. But the main problem I've had with that is that so many companies don't credit their sculptors. It's really made me aware of it. America, it was the best for it. Reaper obviously are brilliant. They credit everyone. Is it Raul Parf? So Reaper have it on the. Do Reaper have it on the packet? I think they do.
I think they do. I mean, they certainly have it on. They certainly have it on the website.
Yeah.
When you order it.
I know Raul Parfa has it on the packet. So that was the sort of thing that I took a good thing from. So when I redesigned my packaging last year think it was just before Salute, actually. I now have the sculptor and painter credited on the packet, because I just think it's really important, because if it wasn't for those people, then I wouldn't have anything. And I see so many new releases or Kickstarters, and it just doesn't say who's made them, and they're the skill. Or so there's, it's a certain level of skill to manage it and run a business, but you can't do that if you haven't got your sculptor. So I like sort of showing them around and just, praising them a lot, because it's such a big skill as well. It's not something anyone can just pick up. It's a massive talent. So I want to, get other people to hire them and keep them in the industry, because it's hard. It's like any artistic profession.
Great idea.
The website is really good.
I'm very pleased. I should probably give a shout out to Nick at Cloud Level, who has been absolutely amazing to work with. I think he had fun as well, because I have a feeling that if you're a web developer, you do a lot of work on artsy websites, that are very white with minimal things and la-di-da, whereas it's like, this is baggy, this is a Squiddo, I'd like all these colours and all this fun stuff, and he had fun with it, I think.
Well, you can find stuff on it, that's for a start, which is
stuff.
unusual. It's unusual for a War Games website to be able to actually find stuff that you actually, you'd actually want to buy. As in, you go on a site normally and you just, you know what you want, you can't find it anywhere because you just got to trawl through everything. But yeah, I mean, this is really, it's very user friendly. Very user friendly.
Thank you. I've tried to make it as less trawly as possible. I've put a lot of time over that sort of Christmas. I was supposed to have Christmas off, and I ended up at my mum's just sort of constantly working on the website, because all those little so he's built the bulk of it, but I had to put all the products in there, sort all the categories out, do all the little graphics for all of that. But I think it's totally worth it, because it looks cool. It's that mixture of it looking cool, but it does the thing. So the search finally works as well, which it didn't on the old website. So you can search things. I've started putting tags on things too. So if they've got an axe or a shield, you can search that. There's lots of subcategories, so you can search for your types of fighters, your types of wizards, your pulp era, anything like that, as well as your sculptor. And it also tells you what material it's in, what scale it's in, just as the standard side information, as well as the blurby bit in there. But recently I've had, more and more really, people from other companies have been asking me questions, mostly actually from more established companies, but I've been talking to some brand new ones as well. Just questions about the industry and, recommendations for suppliers, for, packaging or items and anything like that, what to take to a trade show. It's just sort of seemed obvious to help them out. And then the response has kind of been crazy amount of gratitude. When I started up, I had quite a few people that really helped me, which I was very humbled by, because there were lots of very established people that were given their time. So I kind of wanted to do the same, and it just seems natural to help each other out, because it's just a little industry. And I find it a bit odd that that's, to some extent, it's not the norm. To some it is, but I think I ended up getting lost because I've built up quite a nice rapport with people. But it doesn't make sense to be really shady and be like, oh, I'm not going to tell you where I got my packaging from. It's a secret. I don't want you to have as good packaging as me. Like those sort of bigger industries. So I think it is important that we all sort of help each other out. We're obviously to some extent in competition, because that's how it is. But you can still be friendly with people, which is nice.
Nah, they'll never catch on.
But I like it. I really like the sculptors I work with, the painters I work with. I feel like we've got this really nice sort of Bad Squiddo family going on. And there's people that I don't directly work with, even people that I don't stock, but we have an online rapport. And it feels just like a really nice sort of tight industry. So I'd like to promote that and have more people sort of helping each other out.
Mm. Well, we've sort of talked about what you've done in the last year. That was question 1, folks, if you listen to this. So, what's your plans for 2017, other than to drink heavily?
That's not my plan. I'm on a health kick now.
Well, I'll never catch on, will it, Mark?
Oh, catch on. My plans for this year, more things.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's it, really.
Yeah.
So I would obviously like to concentrate on my own range. So I'm trying to get as much released as possible. I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to be doing this forever. I hope I do this forever. So there's a lot of things that can be done, but I just want to do more and more and more. So I have I'll go into Salute in a bit. That'll be the immediate Salute sort of releases. But the general 2017, I'll do my one bit of secret. I have a secret release in autumn, which is going to be a big bam out of nowhere, and hopefully you'll all go, "Oh, that's so cool! That's amazing! I'm going to buy all of it." So that's my secret release in the style of the Soviets last year, which should sweep you off your feet. It's the same sculptor, Alan Marsh. I'd like to do more informing people. So there's the obvious warrior women that everybody knows about. You know, your Joan of Arc, your Boudica. But I want to do more and more that people don't know or haven't heard of. So I'm also looking outside of Europe. So it's just worldwide. The further you go from the UK, basically, the less you know about these people. So I do like educating at the same time, which is part of what the company is anyway. I'd like to do more busts, because I can do busts for people that might not work as a War Games figure, because they don't really have a purpose or wouldn't sell enough to make it, worthwhile, because they're just going to be a civilian or something. Scientists, people like astronomers, but they'd make a really cool bust. So I'd like to do that. The busts were quite slow when I first released them, but now more people know that I do them. They're picking up, so I'd like to do more of that.
Yeah, of course, that's almost a completely different market, isn't it?
Oh, totally, yeah. Because that's the people that, they're not always are they gamers, so they wouldn't know to even go on my website. So I'm trying to build up awareness in that sector. And from my experience, the people that paint busts a lot of the time are people that want to paint the sexy ladies with the boobs, or the cool pirate guys or whatever. So trying to do quite sensible things that to some might be quite boring. It's interesting to me. It's a harder push, So it's very fantasy or World War II based from what I know of busts from my research. But I'm still gonna. It's enough that I can sort of slowly add to them, and I want to make my bust collection just a cool historical women collection. And again, as they're finding them out, I think that's very much a word of mouth that they're spreading in that way, and they're definitely worth doing. There's some sculptors that I really want to work with that I'm hoping, because I'm currently skint, because it's that run up to Salute, so all my money is going into metal molds, packaging, the new banners, some artwork, that sort of stuff. But after Salute, I hope to have lots of Salute money. My second Kickstarter will be straight after Salute, which should hopefully get me lots of money. And then I can start employing some of the people that, get all caught up, get my usual guys onto more projects, so get Alan onto his autumn project, that sort of thing. And there's some other sculptors that I'd like to work with that I currently don't have the funds for, but should then. So the two that I want to work with are Patrick Keefe and Ernst Weingart. So Patrick runs Bombshell. He is currently doing one sculpt for me, but I'd like him to do some more. He runs Bombshell Miniatures, so he's one of my suppliers, but he's also a freelance sculptor, and he's sculpted for pretty much everyone, and he is absolutely brilliant. So I'm excited to be working with him. And today, actually, I was talking to Ernst. He does a lot of Crooked Dice sculpts. So Crooked Dice have kind of got him. So they've pretty much just block booked him. So he's working for them mostly, but I want to get the odd sculpt out of him in between then, because I'm absolutely blown away. He was showing me some of his greens today because I only knew his digital work, so he was showing me the greens, and they're just crazy good. So they're the sort of people that are more expensive, but I really want to work with. So yeah, adding more people to my repertoire is also nice and fun. There's another brand new piece of information that I've not publicly talked about.
Go on.
In 2015, which feels like a very long time ago, I bought somebody's miniatures range.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Yes, sorry. I was thinking about something else.
What? So I bought this range. I was actually planning to release it at Salute last year, and I had this crazy idea to release some Soviets. So I've not done anything with it yet. I'd very much like to release it this year. Well, one, because I've paid for it, and they're really nice figures. Part of it, Hobbs knows what it is.
Yeah.
Part of it, I kind of feel like it's the sort of thing that would benefit from a Kickstarter.
Right.
But I'm afraid of getting into that thing where I go, let's Kickstarter everything, because I've got lots of ideas for Kickstarters. I obviously want to do the Ghosts of Gaia 2, and then maybe, hey, let's do some crazy animal Kickstarter. Let's do this other thing Kickstarter, and I don't want to saturate it. I'll tell you what it is.
Should you? I mean,
Go on,
should you?
then.
Go on, building up the suspense, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's killing me.
I think you've already sucked me in about half hour ago.
So, Annie, keep us in suspense no longer. Please tell us, what are you planning to release?
Well, it was originally called the Vampire Slayers Club. It's a range of figures, male and female, and monster. It's a classic gothic horror. And the figures are just outstanding, and I couldn't resist them, really. I was originally offered the female sculpts and got carried away and decided that I had to have it all. There's some...
As you do, yeah.
Like, why not? That's what I do. Like, that was back before I'd definitely reined in on the just do female stuff. But they're great, and some of the best sculpts in there were the male ones. They're quite a bit of Gary Morley work. And it's some of his better pieces, I think, as well. So, you obviously, the more I look at figures and ranges and sculptors, I kind of look for everyone's work, and these are just so nice that I couldn't really say no. So I have this collection of gothic horror. There's vampires, vampire hunters, monsters, and I need to release them. And I also like to release them with some new sculpts as well. So I'm trying to, again, once I've got the funds from, I'm not sort of scraping around on this pre-Salute thing. I'd like to get a few more sculpts and then get them out there. I was talking about doing some rules for them, but there's just so much going on that part of me just wants to just sod it and release them rather than keep them any longer, because I've had them for a while now. And they were sculpted quite well too. They've not been released yet, so it's not like I've bought someone's range which has been out there. It's sort of just been floating about.
Oh, right, okay.
So I really want to do something with them, and they're lovely. So I've got the master casts. I've got those to Cubbin at the moment. Paul Cubbin's painting them up, so at least I can show them off. And it does sort of scream Kickstarter. So maybe that'll be something later in the year. Who knows?
They are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous models.
Hobbs did get a sneak peek of them. I've got more now as well, because I didn't have them all when you came over the first time.
So you say classic gothic horror. I mean, are we talking like Victorian sort of?
It's that sort of almost cult TV sort of thing. So We've got the Vampire Brides, Coachmaster, various, your werewolf, your golem, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of Victorian.
Oh right, so Hobbsy, they won't fit in at all well with Empire of the Dead then, no?
They would fit in that very well with that, but
But having said that, yeah. In their own right. I mean, okay. can you tease us kind of like how many figures are in the range, or is that just a question too far?
Off the top of my head, I think there's about 20. Maybe there's a bit less, 15 to 20. But I'm going to get some fresh ones added as well. So I'm going to get Gary on that as well, and a couple of my guys to add things in. When we get to the salute point, I will also mention Phil Hines. I reckon I'm going to get in on this because he has just done some suitably lovely horror stuff for me. Dun dun dun. Tie into the next bit.
Oh, what's the phrase? Almost seamlessly linked there.
Seamless segues.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so salute. So let's talk about salute then. So you talk about this thing as a potential Kickstarter, but obviously that's not going to be till later in the year.
No, that'll be a later thing.
Okay, but you are releasing something at Salute, something new? Or are you bucking the trend and saying, no, I'm not releasing anything?
If I didn't release anything at Salute, that would be great. That would be too crazy for me, even. Got to release things at Salute. I don't have the brand new wave, like I had last year, but I'm hoping that I still have enough that makes people excited.
Right.
And that they open all their wallets and throw their wallets at me in the sense that they did last year. So this is brand new. Nobody knows this. This is, cut-in news.
Exclusive. Woohoo.
It's another exclusive. Poor. You ready?
I'm braced.
Okay. Bearing in mind that it's all sort of half sculpted. It will be sculpted and finished. They're almost ready now. Because, I obviously learnt from last year of not leaving everything till the last minute and getting really stressed, of course.
Of course, yes.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, changing my mind at the last minute about what I want to release at Salute. I learnt that was a crazy idea. So, the biggest thing I will be releasing at Salute this year is...
It's like, go on,
it's an X Factor, isn't it?
It's like, oh, for goodness sake,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll just have a break.
Yeah. We'll tell you after the break.
The nation is vast. There are battlefields of old, great convention halls, and worlds of fantasy to explore. Who will guide us across this great geek nation?
Since 2010, Geek Nation Tours have been providing holidays for groups of like-minded people. Whatever your nature of geek, tabletop gaming, TV, film, comic books, sports or science, Geek Nation Tours caters for you. Visit www.geeknationtours.com for more details and join the great Geek Nation.
Maybe I won't tell you now.
Okay.
I'll just build it up. I won't tell you.
Oh.
Okay, it is a big wave of Shield Maidens. So the Shield Maidens.
Oh, okay.
We had last year. We had the Soviets and Shield Maidens, the biggest things for Bad Squiddo. We had all the Soviet thing. The Shield Maidens then sort of took a bit of a backseat. Had a few character releases last year, but I thought, screw it, let's go all out for Salute. I love Shield Maidens. Everyone loves Shield Maidens. So I've got 3 different sculptors in this. 4 different sculptors actually. Archers. Viking archers.
Mm-hmm.
By Mr. John Morris, a whole unit of Viking archers. I have a new sculptor, Martin Baker, which you all know because he's one of those people who sculpts for everyone. And now for me. He has sculpted a pack of angry civilians.
Angry civilians?
They're actually more historical than everything else they do. Because obviously Shield Maidens are cool. I'm still convinced that there were Shield Maidens, but they're obviously not. There weren't millions of them, but they look cool. the angry civilians are the more likely of what they would have been. So they're in their traditional Viking lady dresses and clothes, their jewellery. One of them's got a baby. One of them is a very small child. And they're defending the village, which is what most of the scenarios would have been. So there's a little child throwing turnips. There's women sort of fighting with farming equipment. And as far as I know, nobody has done that. They've just done quite static civilians. So they've come out really nice. And I still think you can use them for a unit in Saga because they're so different to, your chainmail trained shield maidens.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about them. And you can also just use them as decoration just because they look cool. There are... Oh, yes, I'm going to tell you.
Go on. You want to.
Shield maidens. Mounted shield maidens.
Mounted shield maidens?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
These were originally planned last year, and they took a backseat because they had problems with the Soviets, which I don't want to go into too much because it was the most depressing part of my life. A lot of the Soviets had problems because I needed to spend extra money on them with them moulding and stuff last year, and a lot of things I wanted to get out, but I didn't have time to. So the mounted shield maidens were originally supposed to be a Kickstarter straight after Salute last year.
Mm-hmm.
But due to all sorts of factors, they weren't. So I'm finally going to release them, but I'm going to release at Salute straight to purchase. They're straight to general retail. Really excited about them. So provided there is time, there is going to be a pack of 4 different shield maidens mounted, Viking, very sort of, the briefs the sculptor is very barbarian based.
Yeah.
So they can be used for Dark Age. They fit in my Dark Age line. They're not entirely historically accurate, but again, a pack of 4 mounted shield maidens isn't massively historically accurate, but they're not going to have anything crazy. So they're not going to have horned helmets or bras or anything like that. And they're not going to have Dark Age ponies. They're going to be on sort of standard horses, because I'm also aware that there's barely any mounted female figures out there. So it means that the fantasy players can use them too.
Yeah.
So they will also fit really well. Still fit with Kings of War, Warhammer, Dragon Rampant, anything like that. Maybe if Frostgrave I'm sure I heard that Frostgrave was bringing up mounted rolls, but it might have been a dream. So there's a unit of those in tunics. And then there's also a unit of those with armour as well.
Oh, so there's 2 packs of mounted.
2 packs. So, yep, armoured and unarmoured. They will be with axes and shields. And then once I have scooped up the cash from that, hopefully, they will then be different types. And I'll then put some helmets on a pack. So if you want some helmeted, some Dane axes, different types of weapons, they can easily be converted then. But the initial packs are going to be 2 with the hand weapon shield. With those, they obviously need a mounted shield maiden to lead them.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of my figures from the very first figure that I released was Lathgertha.
Mm-hmm.
And so naturally, there needs to be a warlord version of her. So there's going to be warlord on horse and on foot in a pack, and I'm very excited about that because she should be super cool. So it's another hero unit, and I've done a couple now where I've done the mounted and standing figure in a pack, and they've gone down really well. And that was after listening to feedback. Quite a few people asked about it for various games that have the same figure on horseback and foot, and it's quite a nice way of doing it. So yeah, there's going to be a super cool foot and horse. And I might do them as a split as well as a multi-pack if you just want one of them.
Yeah.
And the other thing
there's more?
Is that's it. It's a Shield Maiden extravaganza. Fully Shield Maiden. Got to do it. It's a bit different, and I received the sculpts yesterday from Phil Hines. Zombie Shield Maidens.
Oh.
Everything's better with zombies.
Everyone's doing zombies.
Sorry, yeah. Okay.
So,
Annie, you sold out. You've finally gone there. Okay, I'm sure people will love them.
It's because you hate Shield Maidens.
No, it's zombies.
Well,
I have no problems with Shield Maidens. I must admit, I'm just starting to suffer a little bit from zombie fatigue.
Zombie phobia you've got, haven't you, Neil?
I will admit that sharing an office with Great Escape Games and their Curse of Dead Man's Hand, which is coming out, there was quite a bit of zombie fever.
Yeah.
But it was before that I decided, as Phil has been sculpting for himself, he's been sculpting his own sort of Kickstarter that he's slowly building up. I'll give him a little shout out. He's doing Trough and Tankard Minis, which is just him doing his own stuff.
Okay.
And he sculpted a female Leech Lord and some handmaidens, and I absolutely loved them. And I really wanted to buy them off him, but they're obviously his own. So I got a bit jealous.
In other words, you turned around and said no.
No, I didn't ask him because I'm nice. I thought if I asked him enough and with my whiny tone, he'd probably sell me them, but they're his for his Kickstarter, so I didn't want to be mean. So I thought, I'm going to try. I'm going to try a unit of Zombie Shield Maidens, see what happens. If they do well, I'm going to... Again, these are all similarly sort of armed and armoured. If they go well, let's do more. Let's do a Zombie Shield Maiden champion. Zombie Shield Maidens on a horse. Who knows what will come out of that. But they look really nice.
That would be Zombie Shield Maidens on skeletal horses then, yes?
Possibly. This is one pack. This will be the decider of if there are more Zombie Shield Maidens. This could be the start of something fantastical. Who knows? I just thought, that's a cool idea. The sculpts have came, and they're even better than I thought. I can't wait to see them painted, because obviously in the green, you've got to really look to see where the skin is, the bone, and he's got them in various decomposing sort of states. And I'm a fan of zombies. I thought they can stand out as a unit. Again, you can use them in whatever game. Because there is a lack. This was pointed out to me at Warfare last year, that there is a massive lack of historical zombies, because a lot of zombies are modern.
Yes.
So, there's obviously the Gripping Beast Revenants. There's Fenris's, is it Draugr? Is that how it's pronounced? He has his own, anyway. But that's really all I can think of. I'm sure there's a few more floating around, but it's not huge, so none of those are female. So female zombies that aren't modern, massive lack. So you could use those you could use them in Frostgrave. You could use them in Saga as a Revenant unit. You could use them in any game, any fantasy game that requires zombies. So why the hell not? Try it out.
Combat as well.
Combat you could use.
Just think, those civilians as well would be perfect for open combat.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's the sort of thing that it's a bit of fun. It's something I want to do, and find out what happens with it. There's also
I can almost hear the tutting here from here.
Tutting?
People walking past your store going.
Zombie Shield Maiden.
Female Shield Maidens.
No, I mean, to be honest, having said that, I think that will be drowned out by the people going. Cool.
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Can I buy them, please?
Yeah, because female Zombie Shield Maidens. If that doesn't attract the fantasy crowd, what on earth will? I mean, come on.
There is. The more you think about it, there's so much you can do with them that I'm hoping it'll be the sort of thing you go, sod it, why not? Even if you don't play undead, then you're going to get them as a monster encounter or something. D&D. I have more Salute releases.
Really?
You can withhold your excitement. There is the Annie sculpt that I've managed to get Kev White to do.
Oh,
which is being
that is superb.
At the moment, I'm very pleased with that.
That is absolutely superb. So how long did it take you to pose for that model then?
I didn't. He stole the face off one of my Facebook photos, which was me being really excited that I had a new office Hoover. So it's my Hoover face, apparently. So I had to send him lots of official photos for the sculpt that I wanted, and he ditched them all for my Hoover face.
Your Hoover face. Which I'm sure you're really impressed about.
It's a very good face. It makes it very much Annie, actually, because he sculpts women all the time, and I wanted it to be super Annie, so it definitely is that sort of Wallace and Gromit going on. It's good. So that's going to be released. It's going to be released in limited edition resin and some metal. It's going to have a very fancy art card with it as well, and all very nice presentational thing. So I'm pleased with that. So that's been a salute.
Okay, so the question the question that has to be asked at this point, so for Salute, and obviously for the celebration of the Annie miniature coming out, are you going to be dressed as a life-size version of the Annie model?
Well, in theory. I have...
You don't sound too sure about that one.
I've got half the components. It is the goal. It's whether I wimp out before the day and have a panic of, oh, I'm really silly, people will laugh at me. But hopefully I won't, and I'll go, screw them. If I'm going to wear a tutu to Salute, if I want to wear one, I'm going to wear one. Screw everyone else. I figured out a way to fix a money belt under a tutu, so I'm practicality and fashionable at the same time. So hopefully, regardless, I'm sure I'll look ridiculous at Salute, whatever I decide to do. I may have done a little message to all my Salute helpers and asked how they feel about wearing tutus as well. My question was on a scale of 0 to 10 from exploitation to woohoo. How do you feel about wearing a tutu? And the consensus was sure. What size? So I've got 4 helpers at Salute now, and they're all going to be tutued up. I just want it to be fun. Salute's the best day of the year, and I want it to be as much fun as possible. I've still got more releases. There's 2 more Baggy figures coming out. I'm going to make that an annual thing to make more figures of Baggy. There's the Immortan Baggy, which is part of the Kickstarter, which is a post-apocalyptic Baggy. Wizard Baggy will be out. And also, depending on time, we've got some more Soviets. The Soviets have been delayed just by usual live cock-ups, because I did intend to have a lot more out this year. But I will have some at Salute. So Scouts are in progress at the moment. A pack of 6 different types of Scouts, all in their amoeba suits. Mm-hmm. A mortar and a crew. And a Maxim HMG and Q and crew as well. And then, who knows, depending on time, I might have a few more little extra bits as well. But it should be a nice large release for the day, which will be pre-order system as well. So last year I did a thing called Baggy Credits, where the more you pre-order, the more fake money you get on the day, like at the arcade, which gives you credits to just pick up free merch, basically. It just helps me out by pre-ordering, so I don't run out of stock on the day, in theory. So keep an eye out on the website for that, because there will be more information there.
Sounds like you're going to be busy then.
I've cut all my work down and then made myself more busy. But it's more busy with my things, which is way better and exciting.
However, you are doing stuff other than just playing with your things, aren't you?
What else am I doing?
What else are you doing? Well, okay, tell us about Dragon Bait.
Well, Dragon Bait Miniatures are good friends of mine. It's another one which is just one person. So it's a chap called Joe. He's in America. And he was one of my first suppliers when I started Bad Squiddo Games. And he's been really supportive and an absolutely top gent since it started. We've got a really good working relationship. He has just done a Kickstarter. Well, it's just launched, so it's live right now. It will be live at the time of broadcast. It is 1888 Venus alternative British sort of troops. So we have the ladies, and we have the ladies on their clockwork mounts as well. And it's absolutely lovely. So me being me and creating lots of extra work for myself, I have became his EU distributor. So that means it's opened it up to so many more people. As we've discussed, this whole pound-dollar thing isn't ideal at the moment. Mm-hmm. So, as well as the customs charges and the tax and all of that crap, me being the distributor wipes all that out. So it means now that if you're in the EU and you back his Kickstarter, he will ship all of the EU ones to me, and then I will ship them out. So you have no customs charges. You have a flat rate postage, which is $8 to the UK and $10 to the EU for as many packs as you want. I will get you to put a link in the thingo. But it's definitely worth checking out, and it means now that you don't have to just buy one pack tentatively. You can buy however many you want. I'm very jealous, which is why I've got involved, because I think that the figures are absolutely lovely. They're really nice. It's the sort of thing where I think, oh, I wish I'd done that. So instead, I just thought, well, I'll get involved. And that sort of links back to what I said, that it's just lovely if we all help each other out. Because I could have gone, how dare he make really cool female figures, I'm going to sulk about that. Or I could realise that it's helping out. It's all working towards my whole goal, which is more cool female figures that aren't exploitative or weird or dodgy. And it's great that more and more people are getting in on this now. So if we all work together, we can achieve greatness. And it's paying back. So this chap has helped me out a lot. So I want to help him back. And not just out of kindness, it's also because I think his stuff's cool. So you should go check it out.
Cool.
Cool. Well, we do have some questions from the Twitterverse.
And also the Facebookverse as well. Since somebody, I don't know, earlier today, somebody started putting out stuff saying, "Hey, I'm appearing on a podcast. Please ask. Are there any questions you want to ask?" I can't think who did that.
Well, it's good to do that. if you'd like a podcast manager, I'm always looking for extra things to do.
Oh, I'll talk to you tomorrow when I pop over.
Yeah, as long as the pay's good.
That's where the first
okay.
Yeah.
Right, go on then, Mr. Hobbs.
Okay. We have a couple of questions. The first three are all in a similar vein, but I think you've kind of answered them. So we'll run through them quickly. I can't pronounce the names, and they're all Scandinavian. Oh, God. So I think it's Leif Erikson at a Jedi Spice. Right. Any additions to the World War II range?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I know a few of the questions were about non-Soviets, which is still my goal. I still want to do a massive range of World War II women in general. It's just, again, the setbacks from last year have put me back a bit, but once the salute's out the way, it's going to be back on my throwing money at Alan to do lots of different types. So not just Soviets, also partisans, different troop types, civilians. I don't want to give too much away, but yes, lots more World War II.
Well, that kind of answers Jeff's question as well. So, Jeff, say hi to Steve.
Steve?
Yeah. Steve is Jeff's brother. And also Colin de Schmidt, who's Dale Monk.
Oh, Colin.
He was asking about Soviet heads.
Yeah, that was a plan I had at the start, and I've just kind of not really done it. The main reason is because I'm very jealous of Statuesque's heads. His heads are very nice, so every time I think about doing heads, I think, well, he sort of covered it because they're so nice. I'd like to do some because his are very neat, so he does lots of neat hairdos. So I'd like to do more themed, specific heads, which is what he doesn't do. But currently, I just think, well, there's no point competing with someone that I get on with so well, and who does it amazingly. So I stock the statuesque heads are in all sorts of different sizes. He's just released another size as well, and I kind of feel he's got that base covered. But if I can come up with something that's a bit different, with the helmets on or whatnot, it is on my list of things. So maybe.
Cool. And of course, the big question and the most important question of the night, which comes from Matt Smith. What's your favourite biscuit? As he does judge people purely on their choice of biscuits.
Oh, crap. I do like a big cookie with lots of chocolate bits in it. But I'm also a bourbon fan. And I like lots of biscuits. I like the ones with the dead beetles in them as well. And that might just be the office biscuit.
Yeah. That's just the one Stu's left on his desk.
Okay. Back to the less serious questions. A couple from Facebook. Right, this one from Nick Lemming. Have you ever considered doing 15mm?
I have, briefly. It's one of those never say nevers for the future. I'd like to concentrate on 28mm because that's where I started, and it's a bit strange, but that's what I play. So that's sort of where my interest is. I also think that when you get to smaller scales, one, it doesn't suffer from the weird bikini woman thing so much because they're small, and it's also sort of harder to tell the gender anyway. So I feel that it's less needed, but there's still a realm for it. So it's possibly in the future, but not the near future.
Okay. Question from Frank Shandy. If you could set up or commission a show game, what warrior woman-related historical battle or skirmish would you love to see on the tabletop?
What I have been trying to push for a while, but nobody's picked up on it, so I'm going to keep pushing it, because it obviously involves my minis. I'd like to see Boudica and Carnemandur fighting. So you can have both armies. Maybe Carnemandur will have some Romans on her side as well. Because obviously she's the one that sold out to the Romans. They're both quite contemporary of each other. Boudica obviously hates the Romans. So I'd like a bit of a... It's not a real battle. So it's a fantasy battle in that sense. Yeah, but I like the idea of those two.
Yeah, much more of a what-if sort of thing, yeah?
Yeah. I just think that's kind of cool to have those two female warlords with totally different views. Which, again, sort of... I'm always trying to push that whole crazy idea that women aren't all actually the same. Believe it or not, we all have different opinions on stuff, which is nuts, eh? It's not like all the women fighters are the same. So I really like that they're both at the same time. They've both got totally different views, and the idea of them fighting in a very... It'd look cool as well. So, you know, you've got Boudica and all their Celts, and Carnemandur and all their Roman sellout friends coming to help out. That'd be a cool clash of queens. And it could have happened. It didn't happen, but I like that sort of what-if sort of style.
Cool. And finally from Joe McLaren on Facebook. Right, as you become more involved in production, do you have any longer-term, more ambitious goals? Do you want to design rules, or how about producing a hard plastic set of something?
Rules has been on my radar for a while. I can't remember if I mentioned that one before. I'm not confident enough to go into rules writing, so it's not my skill. But I would like to be involved in it. So if I feel like I'm good, I've helped out with a few different rule sets, just in that sort of playtesty manner, not anything too heavy. But I would like to have some rules, get someone else to write them, but be heavily involved in that sort of tweaking and getting along what I'd like. I reckon the first sort of dip into it is going to be this gunny pigs versus gunny rabbits sort of thing. I'd love the Ghost of Guy to have their own rule set, but that's sort of thing that will develop, and it requires getting other people involved and people with time as well. So that's definitely for the future. It's almost a cert that I'll end up doing some rules. Plastics I daydream about all the time, but it's so much money. That would be a big Kickstarter, and that's where the risk comes in, because I've seen other plastic Kickstarters just sort of fail. I'd have to get someone good. I'd love to get Bob Naismith to do a female plastic box set, but you need to sell so many of them. So my dream box sets that I'd love to do wouldn't be the commercial ones that other people would get. So hey, one day when I'm super rich and can just throw money at box sets, that'd be ace. But it's a long-term dream. Who knows? Or I could partner up with a bigger company. Who knows? It'd be lovely. They'd have to be very female, but not the bikini female, I think, which is where the issue is. Because there's plenty of lovely box sets out there which you can just put a female head on, so it sort of negates the need for it.
Yeah.
So people were asking for female Frostgrave plastics, and there's no point, because you can just put the girl heads on, and they look exactly the same. So it's...
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they are so dressed up. But
yeah. So yeah,
plastic
shield mains or something would be a dream. I guess that's the main dream, but if, you know, I've got 30-40 grand lying around.
Yes.
But then how
many
metal figures could I make for that amount of money? That's where it sort of becomes a thing. That I could just make loads of more cool female characters from history or whatever for that amount of money. Loads more.
Yeah, this is it, because this is it. We were in a Q&A with John Stallard at the weekend. And he basically turned around and said, you know, because people were asking about, are you going to do a plastic box set of this? Are you going to do a plastic box set of that? And he basically turned around and said, look, considering how expensive it is to produce a set of plastic figures, which people don't seem to realise, they really do have to sell an awful lot of units in order to make it worth their while. So, you know. Yeah.
It's got to be a really big seller just to
Yeah.
break even. That's the point as well. So one day, maybe, when I've made my fortune.
Okay, one final question. This could be something. This could be something to end on, and you never know. We might have to cut this bit out.
No.
Right. This is from. This is off your Facebook page actually. From Lars Gottlieb. Hello, Lars. Right. How does it feel to be a one-woman operation in what is often seen as a very manly, or should I say, male-dominated hobby? Are you treated well, or is there misogyny galore? Discuss. I mean, hang on.
2 minutes. Let me just get my popcorn.
I was going to say, pull out the pin, throw a grenade and run away.
It's a shame we're nearing the end of the podcast. That could be a whole podcast by itself. But in a nutshell, generally everyone is ace. The people I work with are ace. My customers are ace. There's obviously trouble.
Hello.
Hi. There's trouble, but I'm kind of used to it now. The most of the trouble I seem to get is at trade shows. I get all sorts of weird comments from people, but they're always the minority, but it's always what I focus on. That's the problem. So lots of people that come up and say really nice things, and I get people just wander up and say, what you're doing is amazing, and then they wander off again. And I think, oh, a lovely person. And then someone else wanders up and goes, well, what you should be doing is... what you want to do if you want to make money. I'm doing really well. But what you want to do is, you want to do Nazis for the tops off. But they say it in a bit more of a cruder manner. And I think I do get people that think I'm a bit of an easy ride because I'm a nice little girl, so they can get away with screwing me over or that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
There's nothing that really causes me trouble. Mostly just because I'm big and mean sometimes. I could rant, but the 2017 Annie doesn't rant about such things. She's all chilled until something really annoys her, and then she'll rant about it in private or to Hobbs when he comes up to the office. I think it's the same as any male-dominated industry, that there's going to be trouble, but I'm hoping that it's worth it, and that sort of constant me being there. And I think it's important for a lot of people take their daughters to shows, and it's important to see people like me. And there's Wendy at Westwind, there's Hannah at Hysterical Games. There's more and more women at shows, and just to see women that are just there without making a big deal of it, that are just working in the industry, talking about how they play games, is sort of normalising it. So the more of us there are out there, it's going to keep getting better. And I always wish that my stall was there when I was smaller, because I'd love to have seen my stall in some weird parallel universe. That would have been wicked. But my new goal for the company is that I want to make figures and make the War Games world the sort of place that had been far more welcoming to me when I was starting out in the hobby when I was 10. So that's my own little goal.
Okay, one final question. Right, okay, so this is going. This podcast is going out at the end of February. When can we next? So where can people next catch up with you? I mean, obviously you talked an awful lot about Salute, and why wouldn't they visit you considering the shed load of stuff you're releasing there? But where can people find you in March?
The next show I'll be at is Hammerheads. I've not done Hammerhead before, so I'm quite excited. So you can come. Finally got in. It's the last show that I couldn't get into, and I've now got in. Woohoo! So I'll be at Hammerheads. I have a nice big stall. You can pre-order things through the website, which has its own fancy pre-order button as well. So you can click through all the things, click pre-order for Hammerheads, so you don't have to pay any postage, and then come see me on the day and I'll have all the things. I always recommend pre-ordering, as I'm taking less stuff to shows. There's always people with big long lists, and then I have to ruin their day by not having a load of it, because some of it doesn't come in packaging, so I don't take it to shows. So if it's something you're desperate for, go and do that. You can always email me as well, and just let me know what things and pay on the day. That's also cool. I have one more thing I'd like to talk about, if that's okay.
Oh.
It's small, it's quick. I'll reel through it.
Go on then.
Guinea pigs. Guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs. Go on then.
Pigs. Guinea pigs are ace. I do guinea pig figures now. £1 from each pack goes to Gleneath Guinea Pig Rescue, which is my local rescue, which is one lady called Susie, who's really nice. We have raised over £250 so far from this. Until I run out of resin pigs, it's on double donation as well, so £2 from each pack goes towards them. Once they are sold, they're going to be remoulded into metal, and I will then do some calculations and thingos, but £2 or £3 hopefully from the metal ones will be going to her, so the money builds up and builds up. She is super nice and rescues all the guinea pigs. I've recently got 2 guinea pigs from her, which are amazing and make me very happy. So they help the guinea pigs and they help out people with lovely pets and fluffers that they can go home to. I will be doing some more critters soon, so keep an eye on that. There's going to be bunnies and kitties coming soon, and some other animals, and all the little animal packs I do are going to have a portion to a rescue, so I can help all the little fluffers as much as I can.
Okay, cool.
Gotta help the fluffers.
Fine. And on that note, Annie, thank you very much again for coming on the show. Always great to chat to you.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been really nice, and I mean, it's glad to hear you having a good time.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know things have been a bit difficult at times.
Yes, that's for sure. It's up and down, but it is currently excellent. Just sort of powering through and on the road to awesome. Well, already awesome, but on the road to more awesomeness.
I can say, and she's painting again.
Oh, yeah. I've started painting figures again. Soon I'm going to be playing and beating Hobbs again too. Right. Very close. I've almost got a dragon rampant force, so Hobbs, watch out.
Right. In that case, then we'll probably find out more about that. Yeah, on the Patreon part of our show. Oh. So we'll find out more about that on another podcast. so Annie, once again, thank you ever so much for joining us. Wish you all the very best with the year.
Thank you.
I hope it goes well. Especially with everything you're going to be releasing at Salute. Look forward to seeing it. And as I say, I mean, it just sounds like you're going to be so busy.
Good busy though. A nice sort of busy. I like being busy, and I've got little pigs now to cuddle, so it's all good. They're the best thing ever.
Stress relievers, yeah.
Yeah, just don't squeeze them too hard. That's the key. Thanks very much for having me. And yep.
No, that is.
Hope I haven't bored you or anything.
No, it's been brilliant. Lovely to chat. You take care. And all being well, we shall speak to you really soon.
Oh, thank you very much. Bye.
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 We always love to hear from you, our listeners. You can contact us in a couple of ways. You can do that via email at mailbag@meeplesandminiatures.co.uk, or you can now leave a voicemail message for us. The number to call is 0116 318 4114. Please note, call charges may apply.
Well, welcome back to the Bad Squiddo podcast.
Has she gone?
What's the phrase? Eventually.
Yeah. So, by all accounts, you didn't miss me much then.
She was great. Love having Annie on.
She was most definitely on form. Lovely to chat. And good grief. I mean, I thought the idea with downsizing was the fact that she was going to be less busy. And then, having just sat here and listened to what she's got on for this year, what she's planning to do this year, it's like, oh, good grief.
She's a busy girl.
At the same time, go Annie. I mean, it's brilliant. Now, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant. Brilliant. Really encouraging. And, sounds like she's got some fantastic stuff coming out.
Yeah, those Gothic miniatures are fantastic.
I'd forgotten about them. So I was just thinking about the fact that I'd finally have to succumb and buy all the Shield Maidens, especially now she's doing mounted ones. It's like, but yeah, so if those gothic miniatures are nice, I'm sunk.
They are. I've seen them. They're lovely.
Right. Okay. Oh, dearie me. Yes, and of course, in the course of that last interview, you will have heard from our latest sponsor. So once again, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Geek Nation Tours. Welcome to the show, and we will be chatting to the head geek himself, Teras Cassidy, in a couple of weeks. In fact, actually, we will be chatting to him, I believe, twice in the space of a few weeks. Is that not right, Mr. Hobbs?
Yeah, April, isn't it?
Yeah, because Teras is coming on the show. Is Teras coming on the show to talk about NetEpic? Or Epic stuff?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, he is.
He is. And then he's going to be back on the show as well. He's on the show in March talking about his day job, which is Geek Nation Tours. You may remember we talked to him, crikey, around about episode 127-ish, I believe, if I remember rightly. So quite a while ago now. But we're catching up with him all about Geek Nation Tours. But Geek Nation are very kindly helping to sponsor the show. So welcome on board. And we'll be catching up with him in a few weeks. So before we go, have we got any news?
I got some.
Oh, go on then, if you must.
A little while ago, I started writing a supplement for Sharp Practice, and it's going to be coming out around about the time this podcast comes out, hopefully. Yeah, it's going to be out around about at any time now. Richie's just laying it out. He's putting some pictures in, and it'll be available as a PDF via the Two Fat Laddies website.
Cool.
It's all about the War of 1812 over in America.
Fantastic.
65 pages, maybe a few more.
Fantastic. So it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like we'll have to get you back on the show and have an in-depth chat about it. Are you free?
Yeah. If you talk to my agent, yeah.
Oh, okay. Fantastic stuff. I'm assuming, of course, that as with all rules writers, having bought and painted, and I'm assuming most of the miniatures featured in the book are from your very own collection?
Yeah, I think pretty much all of them.
Cool. And I suppose that army is now left lying unloved in the corner?
No, it's on the shelf. Getting slightly dusty, but it's definitely low.
Does it have colours?
No, it's Sharp Practice. You don't have colours in Sharp Practice.
It's still about the same thing, though. 24 men taking a flag for a walk.
That's why I didn't put flags on them.
Well, we can talk about it in depth because we have actually. Well, there's at least 3 of us who've played that. I don't.
Mm.
Yes.
As soon as you buy a copy, you can do a nice review of it.
Yes, Mr. Luff wasn't with us, was he? That was the day I picked up Mr. Whitaker at the train station, if I remember rightly.
But Dave has played it as well at last year's OML.
Indeed, he has. So we can have a wide-ranging and informed discussion about it on a future show.
Mm.
Sounds good, mate. Cool stuff. Excellent.
Very excited.
Very excited. And of course, it has an absolutely stunning prologue as well.
Yeah, we had to cut that. Because we had to put some pictures in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to go. It was factually incorrect.
On that note, I'd just like to say...
you are a rat bag, Hobbsy.
Thank you to everybody for coming on the show. Excuse me, I just need to go and cry in the corner somewhere.
Yeah. No, we left your bit in. And you got your name in it.
I've got my name. Oh, wow. Okay. Even better. Oh, dear. That'll devalue it by a bit. Right, okay.
2 S's in Shuck.
yeah, keep an eye out for that. As I say, we'll. I think we can. I think we can fit it in our busy schedule in the next few weeks somewhere. Good stuff. Right. On that note, I think we better call it an evening, hadn't we, chaps?
Yeah.
Cool. So once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, the Luffmeister.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker.
You're very welcome.
How's the cake?
Still waiting for you to come down and play Dungeon Saga.
Yeah, we'll sort that.
Well, the rugby.
Like you could have done last week when there wasn't any Six Nations rugby.
Yeah, but the Tigers were playing at home.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Like I say, end of the rugby season, mate. I mean, you got a while yet.
There is a point at which I am going to eat this cake, and you are going to be sorry.
If you leave it much longer and you don't eat the cake, you might be sorry when you've ate it.
Yeah, those green bits aren't currants, mate.
Oh, they're marzipan.
And of course, thank you to the Welsh wizard himself, Mr. Hobbs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And finally, thank you all for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Take care of yourselves. Happy gaming, and we will catch up with you next week.
Roll good dice.
Roll some dice.
Is anyone going to say bye?
Don't roll Neil's dice.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, why not share it with others by leaving us a review on iTunes? And if you have any comments or questions, you can always email the show. The address is info@meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. And you can also visit our webpage, where you'll find a complete episode archive, all the View from the Veranda podcasts, rules reviews, and our blog of hobby items and news, which is updated several times a week. This is also where you'll find the links to our presence on social media. And here you can follow us on Twitter or join our Facebook group. And finally, here you can also find details should you wish to support us by making a donation to the podcast. All this on the Meeples and Miniatures website, www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.